I want to ask you some 30,000-foot questions about 2028 Democrats, and then I want you to, and we'll drill down on some things. Do you agree with my premise? And again, I'm not asking you to trash people or say they're worthless or somehow the Democrats won't have a nominee. But do you agree with my premise that the chatter tends to say that the field is a deep bench and lots of great, strong choices? Do you agree with my premise that that's just not true?
I do, with the exception of Newsom, actually, because he has been on the national stage.
Yeah.
He's the one candidate, potential candidate, I think, that has been doing what it takes to fight back
Yeah.
all along. He had the DeSantis debate.
Yeah.
He was kind of, for a long time, he was the only one kind of on that stage, being proactive on Trump and on DeSantis and on MAGA. And so I think he has that going for him. I don't
Yeah.
think the
Hey,
others have that.
yeah. So, Amy, I want to stay with you and stay with California. And then, Jonathan, I'm going to ask you the same question. I totally agree with you. On paper, because like back when he was like a mayor, he was involved in the national conversation. He knows Nancy Pelosi. He knows the Clintons. He knows Obama. Like he has it. But running from California is hard.
Yeah.
Running without a job is hard. And most of all, as you'll see when you listen to the podcast or watch it, he's deeply ambivalent. Like I would bet against him running, even though most people in both parties like, oh, he's so ambitious. Of course, he's running. Mark, you're a moron. Watch my interview with him. Listen to it. I'm just not sure he's going to run at all.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you again before we move to John. What about Kamala Harris? She was vice president. She was a senator. Is she not, in your view, part of the national conversation sufficiently? Fundraising, et cetera, or no?
She wants to be, and she thought that she was going to win. And I think that she thinks that she had a chance to win if the campaign went longer, not shorter.
Right.
And so she feels like she deserves another run. But I think she's trying to figure out the calculus of whether she runs for governor and what that looks like, and if she can run again for president. But I think that is sort of what's stopping her from running for governor, is that she wants another go at this.
Yeah. John, what do you think of what Amy just said about Newsom and about Harris? And would you consider putting Pete Buttigieg in that category I've said of someone who's been in the national conversation either for a long period of time or at a concentrated, very high level?
Let me start with the back end first there. You couldn't
Yeah.
be more right. I mean, the Democratic zoo is full of paper tigers.
Yes, there you go.
And so, I look at that.
Clip that. That's exactly right. Democratic zoo is filled with paper tigers, said John. Go ahead.
But look, we saw this perfect example last time around with Ron DeSantis. Everybody thought he was going to be a world beater, had the right resume, had the right supporters, had a lot of fundraising, and then he gets on the trail and he looks terrible. I mean, obviously he's running against Donald Trump, and that's a much different equation than most candidates running in primaries have to deal with. But even without Donald Trump, I'm not sure that Ron DeSantis shines. He had a lot of trouble as a candidate. It is as you well know, Mark, as Amy knows, as I'm sure a lot of the people watching this know, running for president is a very, very, very difficult thing. And thank God, because being president is even more difficult. As far as Newsom goes, I think you're right. I think he hasn't made a decision yet. He is circumspect enough to think about the possibility that his next best move might not be running in a 20-candidate field for the Democratic nomination for president to maybe win a nomination, to maybe win the presidency. There are not a lot of people that are that circumspect. Most of them have been thinking about it their entire lives. They want to do it. They aim toward it. I think Harris is somebody who's definitely thinking about it. Starts with a huge fundraising advantage over everybody else, name recognition advantage. And you mentioned Pete Buttigieg. He's going to be in Iowa, I think, later this week or early next week. He at least has some time on the national stage in the cabinet level to understand the kinds of things that Gretchen Whitmer might not have, which is how to not get co-opted by the other side. We all remember Charlie Crist and Chris Christie and their hugs of Barack Obama and the permanent damage that did within their own parties.
Yep.
And John and I just sat down with Governor Newsom a week ago in California, and I disagree. I think that he is running. You could tell from the interview is trying to tack a little more right, and is trying to make the case that he is not representing a flyover state, that he does represent the Central Valley. He made that known in an interview John and I did separately after. He's trying to do what it takes. I think the podcast in and of itself is an effort for him to kind of test the waters and see where the party is. And he admitted as much, that he doesn't know where the party is and is trying to find that out right now.
All right. I loved everything you just said. And just to be clear, I've literally listened to every episode of Gavin Newsom's podcast. I think it's fantastic and interesting. I'd ask you not to continue to plug next up. Listen to my colloquy with him about whether he's going to run. And if you come away thinking he's definitely running, you have a much different sense of humans and Gavin Newsom than I do, because I explained where I thought he was. And he said, Mark, you're 1,000% right. You're not 100% right. I really don't think he's going to run, but I'm certain that he's not sure he's going to run. I'm certain of it. Hey, want to be part of the two-way community all the time? Hit the subscribe button. Great video clips like this, plus conversations like no other, full episodes and more, always available on this channel. You got to hit subscribe to never miss a thing.